So after some debate and some back and forth, it's decided that I'm going to keep the RC51 and begin the cosmetic restoration to make it look more like a stock vehicle, kind of like the ZX10 over there. It's going to be a solid color. I'm debating between a red and a black. I'm not going to be doing the stock two-tone. I just think it's going to be too difficult and too costly to try to match to get all the right decals and the right angles and everything on the fairings and the gas tank. So we'll just go with that solid color. I've been talking with some body shops, and we want to find out what the condition of these fairings are underneath this wrap. They've already said that they can handle the Line X or whatever, not Line X, whatever bed liner this is, shouldn't be a problem. I believe this actually is not an aftermarket fairing, by the way. So there's a piece of foam on the back side of this that is on the OEM tail sections, and I was not seeing that foam on any of the aftermarket tail sections. So I do believe this is in fact all OEM plastics. So that's good news, and the fact that they should be able to, the body shop should be able to restore this and get rid of the bed liner, it's got me very excited. Step one is going to be to remove the fairings from the body, and I want to inspect the inside to see if we have any cracks before removing the vinyl wrap. And once I have an idea of the condition on the inside, I'll apply a little bit of heat and start peeling the vinyl wrap. So we've got the right mid fairing off, and just looking at the inside here, hope I'm in the frame of view of the camera, but I don't see any cracking. The plastic feels OEM. It looks like it's got all the tabs, all of the, what do you call these? Well nuts are still intact. Probably wouldn't hurt to put all new well nuts in. It's got all the foam here. It looks like, I'm guessing this was originally a red fairing, and they probably painted the whole thing black, judging by the color of this here, and then they got tired of that look and decided to go with a full wrap. So we're going to be removing the wrap, but I want to get the rest of the fairings off of the bike first. So this is a good start. Let's keep it going. Alright, so we've got a good portion of the headlight assembly removed, well, the whole headlight assembly removed, and the front cowl, and the right side mid fairing. And just taking a quick look right out of the gate, I really like how accessible everything is here. I was wondering, if I was to replace this, how difficult would it be to access this? Now, Honda makes a removable cover. This is just like a plastic cover to the gauge itself. And I believe it can be removed by the screws, a few screws on the back here on either side. I don't know if I have to heat it up, if this is glued as well, but this case cover is only about 80 bucks. The whole headlight assembly comes out with the upper cowling, with the upper cowling. And if I want to remove all of the wrap that they've done here, I'm gonna have to remove the headlights as well. But I think before I do that, I'm gonna move back over to the bike, and I am going to remove the front fender and then the left side mid fairing. And yeah, we'll work our way to the tail section and then the gas tank. Fairing removed, and just taking a look, you can see we've got what appears to be the original factory foam inside the fairing. I'm looking around here, we've got most of the original well nuts. We're missing a few, I think, down here at the bottom, or these may normally be just the little plastic rivets. But overall, the little standoffs. Everything appears to be intact. I'm not seeing any cracks that go all the way through from one side to the other. Again, I'm probably going to be expecting some scratches on the side that's vinyl wrapped. This thing is probably crashed and then painted and then vinyl wrapped. So who knows what we're going to find underneath this, but I'm pleased to feel the rigidity of this. It feels like OEM materials, and I'm excited to remove the camo and see what we're working with on the inside, or on the outside. No surprises yet. Let's keep our fingers crossed and just keep moving down the line. Remove the headlights from the front cowl assembly. You can see everything appears to be pretty well intact, and it looks like we've got our holes for our turn signals, probably going to be the flush mount turn signals, and all of our standoffs / mounting points seem to be good, so I'm really happy about that. We've got the factory windscreen off, some of the factory accent panels off as well. And I'm recycling baggies from the Buell XB12R build. So if you haven't seen that, link in the description below. But anyways, yeah, so you can see, looks like this was part of the top rocker for the Buell. But this is going to be our windscreen baggie, and this is the headlight assembly hardware. So now that we've got that removed, we can go ahead, and I borrowed my wife's hair dryer because I don't have a heat gun. Need to get one of those. What I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up the plastics just a little bit, see if it'll help loosen any of that adhesive from the vinyl. I don't know how long it's been on there, but it will make my life a lot easier when I'm removing this stuff. So let's give it a shot and see how far we can get. If I'm being 100% honest right now, you know, if they had to paint the fairings, the OEM fairings, because they were in an accident or something, I am really happy that they vinyl wrapped it, because this bike is a 2003, right? So this thing, if it was sitting out, which I'm pretty sure it was, would have been exposed to the elements and the sun. And honestly, this thing is in really good shape, I think partially because it's been vinyl wrapped and protected from the elements. The inside's not in too bad of shape. I'm not seeing any cracks. That looks like an area where there might have been foam. It looks like maybe there was some on that side too. At first I thought it was a plastic repair, but I don't see any cracks, and it looks like there's some foam residue on there. So they may have ripped off some foam from the factory, but yeah. This is in great shape, especially for a black paint job. So I am really excited about the front cowl. I guess now we got to do the same to the remaining parts. Still haven't removed the front fender yet, or the tail section, or the tank. And I'm going to attempt to now do the mid fairings. But given the time, I doubt I'll be able to make it to the body shop today. So let's just see what we can get done. So I have removed the camouflage from the left-hand side and right-hand side fairings, as well as the front cowl, as you can see. Now the right-hand side did have a little bit of chipping when the vinyl came off, and I believe that's some of the previous owner's Rao can paint job. You can see it's just coming up with my fingernail. But I am having a body shop do a fresh coat of paint on this. They're gonna be doing some sanding and body work, so I'm not really taking care to chip away all the old paint. They will do that for me. But what I'm going to move on to now is getting the front fender off, and then I'm moving my way onto the tail section, the passenger seat cowl, and then the gas tank. So let's keep going. So we got the front fender off, and taking a look at the mounting points here. Usually what I've been seeing on these front fenders, at least the used ones, this is always cracked or snapped off on the rear mounting point, and the fronts are usually okay. However, on this fender, I don't know if the camera can pick that up, but there's actually a little bit of a crack happening right here. You can kind of see it at the edge. And then something similar, a little bit more drastic on this one here. Hopefully the camera can pick that up. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm gonna talk to the body shop and see if there's anything they recommend to reinforce that. But all in all, I think it's a usable fender. We are going to paint it gloss black, and I think it's gonna look great. So now it's time to move on to, I'm gonna pick the tail section next, because before I disconnect the fuel pump and everything, I want to unplug the battery. So let's get that seat off and then start removing the tail section. All right, so I removed the tail section, and overall it's in pretty good shape. It does have this bed liner material on it, which the body shop said they can remove. The only damage that I found while removing it was, I don't know if the lighting will pick it up here, but there's a very slight crack right, I don't know if I can even pick it up on the camera, somewhere in this region here. And if we flip it over and look on the inside, there it is. You can kind of see it right here. So I want to see if they can put some sort of reinforcement, some sort of an epoxy in there to make sure that that crack does not propagate any further down the tail section. And but all in all, I think we're okay. I do believe this is actually the OEM tail section, only because of this foam padding that I see here. All the aftermarket pieces that I was looking at online don't have that foam padding. So it does feel pretty sturdy now having it off the bike. Originally I thought it might have been a little flimsy, but I do believe that this is the factory tail section. And in fact, you can see, I believe this would be a silver on a 2003. And you can see what appears to be silver here, and then the black aftermarket paint that they originally sprayed onto the tail section and the rest of the bike. So anyways, without further ado, let's remove the gas tank. All right, so the gas tank is off the bike and the gas is now completely drained. Unfortunately, I didn't siphon it all the first time around, and as a result, solvents did what solvents do, and it made a complete mess. But anyhow, it's just a garage, that's what it's for. And I removed the gas cap, so I'll be hanging on to this, but hopefully the body shop can remove this junk in here. That would be really nice. But anyhow, here's a close-up look at the RC51 fuel pump. And I'm going to leave that in place. I don't want to replace the gasket. Honestly, I really don't care if they paint down here or not. I only want them to paint what's going to be visible. Sort of what the previous owner did. As you can see, there is no more gas in here. So I've put together a little box. I am going to be plugging up some of these holes here, and I'm going to load it in the box, and that should help with the transport for tomorrow. And I'm also going to load up the truck with the remaining fairings. And I think I will probably leave the rear wheel removal. That's kind of a tongue twister. I will leave the rear wheel removal until tomorrow. And I'll probably just clean the bike tonight, try to clean it up a little bit. And I'm also going to experiment with removing this plastic cover. It is an $80 replacement, and honestly, if I was buying this bike and I had to stare at that, this could be a make or break for me, I think. So honestly, for the $80 investment, I think it may be the difference between closing a deal or not with a potential buyer. So there are a few screws back here. I've already popped a few of them out, and what I'm gonna do is, if I can get this last one out, there's a few more screws along the perimeter that I need to remove, and I'm gonna see if I can get it to split right along this seam. If I can, I will get this part on order tonight, and we'll go from there. So let's get everything boxed up, load it in the truck, and yeah, let's keep moving.